What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the deviously dreadful Dr. Disaster, and today, well, I guess it's opposite day around here, because it sounds like we've got a business who seems to labor under the delusion that giving their customers the opposite of what they want is how they as a business are going to sell more product.
That doesn't make sense.
Of course, these days, every day seems like opposite day, doesn't it? All sorts of corporations seem to think they know what the customers want better than the customers know what they want. But today, we are going to listen to a comic book writer plainly state the quiet part out loud, that these comic book companies, and other media companies for that matter, go out of their way to piss us off because they believe that it's good for sales.
Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
In this video, we are going to read about what this writer has to say, then we are going to look at the sales numbers from the month of December for all of the graphic novels that came out in that month to see how well that strategy is paying off for the likes of DC and Marvel. It probably goes without saying, but it's not really working out very well at all. And then we are going to close things out by listening to a living legend in the comic book industry who has some wise words about the state of American comics that the rest of the industry needs to listen to, because it is clear that the Japanese with their manga are regularly kicking the shit out of their American counterparts. And their secret ingredient is very simple.
Give the people what they want! Brilliant!
Brilliant.
That was bloody brilliant.
Alright, me hearties, make sure to hit that like button on this video. It really helps with the algorithm. And if you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, my handle is Dr. Disaster1. In any case, let's kick things off today by reading this article from the website That Park Place. Its headline says, Superman writer Joshua Williamson admits DC Comics attempts to sell comics by pissing off readers and making them unhappy. Joshua Williamson, the current writer of Superman, recently admitted that DC Comics attempts to sell comics by making readers angry. Speaking with Popverse, Williamson said, "Sometimes people get really angry and they spend money, which is the saddest thing, but it's been the hard lesson that I've learned from DC. It's that when people are happy, they spend less. It sucks, but it's a pattern that I've seen in my time at DC." In the context of what this writer is talking about, he's correct. People want to see conflict. People want to see heroes go through struggles. We wouldn't be very interested, for example, in watching Superman sit around in like his underwear at his apartment all day watching Netflix. There would be no point. But what it sounds like to me is that this mentality of making customers angry is just an overarching philosophy that they discuss openly at DC. It sounds like the company taught Joshua Williamson this mantra. Because what does he say here again? Let's look. The hard lesson that I've learned from DC, it's that when people are happy, they spend less. It sucks, but it is a pattern that I've seen in my time at DC. So yeah, it sounds like they were teaching him this basic philosophy. And from the looks of what DC has been up to recently, they have taken this philosophy entirely too seriously themselves, trying way too hard to piss all of us off. It's one thing to give Superman or Batman or Green Lantern or someone an interesting struggle to contend with, but it is entirely different to go out of your way to push agendas into pre-existing characters and annoy large swaths of the fan base. Look at this example. I mean, gee, with a cover like that, I wonder why people aren't buying comics like this in droves. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against folks who are gay, but Superman just isn't. And in fact, the vast majority of people aren't. So why are we trying to cater and pander to this minority when comic sales are already suffering? But I mean, I don't even mean to pick on just that segment of the population. There are loads of examples of DC and Marvel pandering to feminists as well and wokesters in general. They go out of their way to create controversy, but what that doesn't do is translate into sales. For proof of this, take a look at the December 2023 list of the top 20 selling graphic novels. This is from ICV2, and you can see here the first 2 slots go to Image Comics titles. Number 3 was the Ninja Turtles, number 4 is the manga Chainsaw Man, which I highly recommend, by the way. Number 5 is an Image Comics title, and then finally at number 6 we see a DC title made the list this month.
Whoop-de-doo!
Dark Knights of Steel Volume 2 was number 6. Good for DC, they finally got one. They didn't have one in the previous month. In November of 2023, there were absolutely 0 Marvel or DC titles. But in this one, Marvel finally gets one as well. If you take a look at the 10th slot, Mighty Marvel Masterworks, The Silver Surfer Volume 1, The Sentinel of Spaceways was number 10. But other than that, everything else on the list is from smaller publishing companies like Image or IDW, or it's manga. In a market like graphic novels, in which DC and Marvel compete directly with manga and some of these other publishers, they get their asses handed to them consistently every month. And it's because of what we were just talking about, the insistence of these companies that they piss us off. They think controversy is driving sales, and it might have done so at first, but diminishing returns kick in. They always do, and woke gimmicks fall apart. But before we go, let's have a look at an interview with comic book legend and one of the original owners of Image Comics, which I will note absolutely crushed it in the top 20 graphic novels list from this past month. But anyhow, we are going to listen to the wise words of Todd McFarlane, the man who created Spawn, my favorite comic book character in the world. This is what he has to say.
How is the comic book market, how's it look to you?
Okay, here I learned a long time ago, name's Todd, only rhymes with God, right? I control one human being's sort of actions, my own. If the comic book industry as a whole wants to be super creative and come up with a bunch of stuff and expand, what I'm doing within that is not really going to move the direction one way or the other. Conversely, if the comic book industry people want to basically figure out a suicide mission, my couple books are not going to stop that. All I have control over is putting out quality books on a timely basis at a fair price. Marvel's going to do what Marvel thinks is best, good, bad, or indifferent. Whatever it is that you're doing, there should only be one goal. And this should be the same for anybody who runs sort of any company. Are you selling more of what you make? And I look at the comic book industry for the last 30, 35 years. Are we selling more comic books today than we were 35 years ago? The answer is no. No. So I could argue that whatever all of us have been doing is wrong. Why? Because we've contracted. If we start putting out junky comic books, then of course the fans shouldn't support junky comic books. And then they're not going to buy them. If they don't buy them, there's not going to be as many stores. There's stores that are there are going to sell the last And if they sell less, then the publishers are going to probably want to make up. So all of it is all tied together. I think we're as good as the skill set that's out there, and some of the business decisions that are made by people who do have influence. Marvel and DC leading the charge. So if they want to bury this industry, that they can do it. Now, here's my question. What day was it that the upper management of those companies thought they were doing a shit job? Never. Oh, even when you're heading towards a collision, we're not very good on the business side of seeing the collision.
I only wish that the doofuses at Marvel and DC would listen to what Todd has to say. Something in modern comics just isn't working. A large number of us keep vocalizing what that is. We will see if Marvel and DC ever come to the same conclusion. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.